Hello, myself Sunil R. Here basically we are discussing about the topic that is related to computer blood cells. Basically. And this is basically related to the city creation. So in city creation, this also basically comes into the picture. That is software blood cells equal to all above subjects basically. So one of the person told that so to create one software also basically it's very dangerous because you have if you are base software basically and to handle the software company basically that is more dangerous basically than he told that yes basically. So one of the person told that assume that basically you got one software company to handle. For example, once you got one CEO, one of the person told that company owner basically told that basically you become the CEO. So it will be easy or basically it will be tough basically. It would be very tough basically to handle the around assume that basically around 35 employees basically. Up to that 35 employees to handle also basically it's very tough. Reason I will take one example that will clear lots of things basically. For example, one person told that basically you got one project basically. Assume that that software is going to create. Assume that the software is basically of uh, CRM software, and the CRM software basically is created on going to create in .NET, and that basically is going to create vegetables creation. Then he told that okay, so tomato basically is the creation basically of the software company. So the software company is basically just of 35 basically. Then he told that yes basically. So 35 of software company basically is going to create the CRM sorry the tomato basically. So one of the person told that okay basically. So 35 employees basically are going to be used basically in this creation of CRM basically. Then he told that yes. So you have to handle the Microsoft Corporation. You have to get the perfect toolkits basically, studio basically, so that basically you have to tell the Microsoft that basically we have to create the one potato or tomato or whatever basically. Assume that it's a tomato. So he told that tomato. Then basically he told that Microsoft will tell us basically you have the data basically for the tomato creation. Then he told that yes basically they basically give the set of data information basically. They will not give the entire information, but they will give the little bit information. Then they told that okay basically this is the information. Then they told that basically the this all are information basically that you got. Then basically this many people basically are going to be used in this basically they will not give the entire list basically software company basically mostly basically people they but the Microsoft will get the entire list basically that basically they have that, but they will not try to find out basically, but they will verify basically few datas basically. In few data basically they will give the data to the Microsoft doctor basically, that is Microsoft doctors also you can say whether this data basically can create tomato or not basically. Then he told that yeah, let me check basically in the Microsoft corporation data basically they are matching with the tomato or not, like this basically the comes Microsoft software company tomato data, like this basically the it comes basically. So let me see basically whether the data is getting merged or not basically. Then it told that yes basically let me check it. Then basically they will check basically, and if they will say that basically yes basically it will merge, then they will send the SDK, and like this basically they starts the project basically. Then the project started, and like this basically the project starts, and the CEO and the vice president they know that basically this project is going to convert to the tomato, and tomato means these energies basically are going to be generated into tomato. So like this basically he will say that basically okay the project basically can be created like this. Slowly basically they dumped the project, and then basically they created the project, and then basically they finished the project, and then basically they deployed the project into the server basically. And the server Microsoft basically told that basically you can deploy this project basically in this all server basically, because you have to create this tomato, so basically you require some strong server basically. So for that basically take this server basically they take the company name basically who use the deployment basically, like this basically they deployed the, and like this basically they started creating the tomatoes basically. That is the tomato energy basically. Directly basically the tomato is not created. After that, basically the nuclear power company, energy company like this, they all verifies, and then basically they give the data to the final nuclear power company, and then basically they say that basically the tomato is created basically for this all countries. Repeating the word this all countries basically. So you have to give the data that how many people are going to use the tomato also basically, because they have to do the certain level of plans basically. Microsoft Energy basically have to do the certain level of plan, because Microsoft also basically have the boundary basically. Within that boundary only basically they can put their data basically. So tomato basically is one data basically, that basically within where basically they are going to put that Microsoft data, sorry, the tomato data of the Microsoft created software basically. So they are going to dump where basically, in which place basically, and from that basically it's a planet creation going to happen basically in the universe. So that everything basically mapping they do basically, and then only basically they say that basically we are sending the SDK basically. You can take that SDK data, and then basically you can use that database. So like this basically they say that basically okay, so you can basically create the data, and you can basically use the tomato creation, and you can basically use the tomato creation, and then basically you can have the medicine also, whatever the disease basically it's going to generate, they'll all that all data basically also you have to create. So like this basically from 35 words, one of the word basically they used, and they basically created tomato. Like this basically the disease also generates, because if blood cells is getting processed, tomato is going to be connect with all the blood cells, then basically the disease is going to generate. Which sort disease basically is going to generate, that basically experiment they have done. Then basically the medicine basically gets into the picture from the R&D center of the Microsoft basically. Like this basically they say that basically we have created the disease, sorry, we have created the medicine also basically of that particular disease basically, which is going to generate when the this all 22 blood groups basically are going to generate the energy process basically. After that basically send the energy of the processed data basically, that is the tomato processed data, because 200 crore people basically has already had that tomato basically, because Microsoft data basically is basically up to 200. So 200 people basically will have that tomato, and like this basically the tomato is consumed by the 200 crore people. If basically the certain level of bodies basically consume that tomato, and basically it's adjust in the blood cells basically, then it's okay. Otherwise basically it will convert to the disease, and then basically that will convert to the, they have to get the medicine, and then basically few medicine basically are given by the power supply company only basically, and few people basically have to consume the medicine basically. So like this basically things are basically there. So you can just imagine the power of 135 word basically, which is given by the Oxford University. In this basically, this also basically contains that word basically which is given 35 words, this also basically contains. So you can just imagine basically the things basically, that is Microsoft data basically which is given, and which is basically all about subject basically. So like this Microsoft Corporation basically, SAP is there, C++ is there, Java is there, PHP is there, Python is there, Pascal is there, Google is there, C++ is there. Like this each and every data basically are containing the data basically. So like this basically you can just imagine the data basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about the 35 words basically, which is the power of Microsoft basically. Few people says that basically from 35 words basically you can create the tsunami, you can create the earthquake. So that topic basically will be the next topic, that is from 35 Microsoft, sorry, from 35 words basically given by the Oxford University. Is it possible to create the tsunami? Is it possible to generate the earthquakes and basically stop the earthquake? That type of possibility is there basically. That basically we are going to discuss in next video.